Watch that dial.
Welcome back to WCNY Connected. You know, if you haven't had a chance yet to check out the current season of fantastic theater at the Merry Go Round Playhouse in Auburn, you still have one more week, and they're wrapping up their season with a heartwarming musical comedy that's gaining rave reviews all over the country.
Based on the best-selling book Growing Up Lutheran, the show Church Basement Ladies, the second helping, is a nostalgic look at the women who toil in the basement of a rural Lutheran church in the late 1960s. Author Janet Letnes Martin was in town this week to preview the show, and we sat down to talk about her inspiration for her award-winning book and the play.
I am a regional writer. I started writing books in 1984, and then I teamed up with a college friend in the early 90s. We wrote several books about growing up Lutheran, growing up rural, things from just how much scrap lumber does a man need to save, to the book Growing Up Lutheran. Growing Up Lutheran won the Minnesota Book Award for humor in Minnesota. And I have a producer, Kurt Wallen from Troop America, who decided to make a musical out of it. And everybody knows the Church Basement Ladies, and we wanted to make this so no matter if you grew up in a Lutheran church where this was started, or a Catholic church, or a Methodist, or my son-in-law is Jewish. His mother said the same women are in the temple. It's a musical about four women and a pastor working in the basement of the church, making stuff for funerals and weddings, and you know, the fellowship that they share with each other. From the oldest woman who wanted nothing to change in the church, she wanted the church to remain exactly as she knew it was 50 years ago, to the youngest one who had been to the Twin Cities, and she had seen other things going on. And of course, she's coming home and wants to push every button and change everything. So you get the dynamics between the women and the farm women, who is we call the Marys and Marthas of the church. The one wants to play the piano, or the one plays the piano and the other one does it. We know those who work and those who serve, and those who click around in their high heels and pretend they're important. So that's what it's all about.
I remember she wore pants to church one Sunday during thrashing season in '32. Old Pastor Norvald made her sit in the back of the church. Ah, you remember.
I think a lot of people come for the nostalgic angle, and people say to us, that's exactly the way I grew up. And we workshopped the play the first time in Minnesota in a very Catholic town, just to see if it was the same and they would like it as well as the Lutheran churches. Those women walked out of there laughing and said, we were Catholic, not Lutheran, but we had the Marys and the Marthas in our church too. It was the same recipes. We worked just as hard.
When you told us that Harry was going to be an engineer, I thought you meant a engineer. I had no idea you meant a fancy indoor desk job. Boy, if I'd have known that work at the end of the day with clean clothes on, I never would have settled for a farmer.
And we actually wrote a sequel to this, a Lutheran dictionary, to identify Lutheran terms for people who didn't grow up Lutheran. And we have terms in there like Zacchaeus. We said he was a New Testament woman who, like many a Lutheran woman, was up a tree because company was coming to visit. And as I said before, we have the word feelings in there. Well, feelings didn't exist, so we said it really wasn't necessary to put in a Scandinavian Lutheran dictionary because feelings didn't exist, and if they did, you wouldn't talk about them. So the word isn't necessary. So if you ever hear the phrase, "Oh, Elmer, please share your feelings with us," you can pretty well bet the farm you took a wrong turn and ended up at the Unitarian church.
A dainty drill sergeant in sensible shoes. Every gal wishes she were a church basement lady like her.
And we don't write this to make fun of these church basement women. They worked hard, they served weddings and funerals, but to have fun with some of the things that we grew up, the thing we thought were part of Christianity, like Jell-O, but really had nothing to do with it. And this Merry Go Round Theater is just alive here. I mean, what a wonderful place to stage this thing. Stage the set design's wonderful, costuming's great, voices are great. I am so impressed with out here. I said, you know, if I didn't live in Minnesota, I could move to upstate New York.
That looks like a lot of fun.
That does look like a lot of fun.
I think your parents would identify with that. Your mom is still a church basement
And
lady.
we're Methodists, boy, and I tell you that I can relate to that.
I think so.
And speaking of my parents, they just went to see some theater at the Merry Go Round Playhouse. They said it was awesome.
It really is.
No matter what play you see, you always enjoy it.
Church Basement Ladies runs now through October 30th. For ticket information, go to merry-go-round.com. Check out WCNY Connected with us, Ted and Amy.
Thursday nights at 9 on WCNY.